Yo, please tell me I'm back.
No,
Am I
we're
back?
good. We're solid. We're
Yo,
solid.
this is not how I wanted to start this, man. Shoot. Yo, I don't know what happened. I
Hey,
apologize, dude.
it's not how you start; it's how you finish, my brother.
What's going on, everybody? This is AK Eagles from the Eagles Uncensored podcast. I have with me tonight a very special guest. He is a good friend of mine, Tone Deshields from Chalk It Up Sports Philly. He is also a very good friend of our own Philly Foothills from the Eats Meets West. Uh, you've seen everything that's been going on. I appreciate you with the donations. I've seen that. Thank you. God bless to you and your family. Uh, you know, it was definitely a hard loss this past Sunday. And, I wanted to bring you on and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, the playoff game this past week. Uh, what steps we've made so far, the presser yesterday, and kind of where you want to go from here. Definitely want to try and get as many people on as I can throughout the weeks here to try and, get everyone's view and perspective on this team going forward.
For sure, man. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to come onto the platform. Super grateful to you. Um,
Thank you.
shout out to my man Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West. We also have a podcast, the Birds of a Fellow podcast that we do weekly. We missed last week because I kind of had to get out to an early start. I ended up watching a game in Delaware with some family and friends, so we couldn't do our podcast last week. But I really want to give a shout out to Philly Foothills and his family. They're going through a tough time that's that's God honestly immeasurable. You can't quantify it, and I can't imagine losing a loved one. I can't imagine losing a son. Personally, I don't have any children, so there's no way I can even begin to measure or even relate to that loss. But losing somebody that's close to you, losing someone who was a part of your everyday life, I do know what that part is like, and it doesn't get easier. You just learn to manage it better, and I just send Foothills, my prayers, my love. It's not just him but his family. You know, uh, I said a prayer for him not too long ago, man. At the end of the day, I look at it like this. God, God got his son. God got him. He's in a far, far peaceful place than where we are today. And at the end of the day, Foothills, he's going to come back stronger. He's going to go even harder. His motivation is going to be through the roof. And I think it's just really important for us, the Eagles community, the people that know Foothills, the people that work with Foothills, the people who believe in Foothills. It's up to us to really stand by him and hold him down throughout this process and just try to just help him through it, because it's not easy. And sometimes it's nothing that you really can say. It's sometimes you just got to just be there. And any way I possibly could help, by sharing the links and donating to GoFundMe. That's I I just really pray that they're managing and doing the best they can throughout this process, my man. But again, thank you to you for sharing the link with me, keeping me in the loop about what's going on. I've been paying attention to what you've been doing, doing the fundraiser live streams damn near every night. You've been killing it, my man, and
Thank
that's a true friend. That's a real friend, and uh, really, really, really proud to know you. So again, thank you
Appreciate
for
that.
allowing me to come to the platform to be a part of this.
Thank you, man. I do appreciate that, bro. Seriously. Yo, what's going on, Jay Milton? How you doing, bro? And Jerry Lee from the Backyard Birds podcast. How you doing, bro?
Sure.
Appreciate you. So, yeah, man. First off, I want to get your take on this past weekend. When we played Tampa. We've gotten a lot of different opinions. On we'll start off with our quarterback Jalen Hurts. We've gotten different opinions. Some people, are like, hey, we're good next year. We'll roll with him, see what he's got, build around him, and then there's other ones that don't want him. You know, and
Right.
and some are basing it off of the playoff game. You know, um, but when you look at it, you got Dak Prescott who had the same exact stats as Jalen Hurts in his game. He was 23 for 43. He had six less passing yards and one less interception. Granted, Jalen had one more interception, but Dak's been in the NFL for 6 years and he has far the better team.
That's right.
So you got to look at that and then look at all the stats of every quarterback in our division that lost this past weekend. Everybody's damn near the same. Kyler Murray's worse than Jalen Hurts.
That's
So,
facts.
so what's that say about Kyler Murray? Are we throwing Kyler Murray under the bus now? You know, even Mac Jones. You know, who was the other one? Shoot,
Uh, I know Mac Jones lost, Kyler Murray lost,
Dak, and then
Dak Hurts. I know Carr lost, but Carr had better numbers than all of them.
yeah.
Uh,
So, but that's what I'm saying though. You look at them all though, my guy. They're damn near similar. You know what I'm saying? So we can't jump the gun on this, but I wanted to get your take on the Jalen Hurts situation real fast and what you've seen this whole year and how do you rate him and where do you want to go with him?
well, first and foremost, let me just make this very clear. I was extremely disappointed with the way the team performed that day against the Buccaneers on the road, wild card weekend. It
Yeah,
was it was unacceptable. It was disappointing. It's one thing to lose in a slugfest. It's one thing to lose in a dogfight. It's one thing to just it's one thing to compete and fall short, right? It's a whole nother monster when you just don't show up. And
yeah,
that was what I saw from beginning, middle to end. Not on any level did this team show up. They looked unprepared. They looked out of sorts. They looked outgunned. They just were outclassed, and that just shows you the disparity between a real playoff team versus a team who barely snuck in. And I want to say that I am proud of the Philadelphia Eagles for where we came. There was a moment in the season where we thought we were dead in the water. We were 2-5, and no one thought we would ever be anything.
yeah.
People said we could only win 3 or 4 games this season. Some people were a little more generous, saying 5, 6, whatever the case might be. The bottom line is, no one thought we would have a record above 500, and we did that. We ended up going 9-8. We should have been 10-7 as far as beating the Giants the first time, but we laid an egg against that. But that's another conversation. The bottom line is, this team went 9-8 with a rookie head coach, a rookie DC, a rookie OC, a damn near new staff. The only person with some sort of experience or tenure was Jeff Stoutland on the offensive line, and
Yep.
that was how we got where we got, through the offensive line, through the running game, and having that 9-8 record. Knowing how people judged us preseason and in the offseason once the schedule got released, everyone said we would only win 4 games, right? And now that we went 9-8, they want to say that, wow, they didn't beat anybody to get in. Well, first things first, we don't make the schedule. And and also, you guys knew the schedule prior to the season, and you still said we only can win 4 games. So why should we, as an organization, as a fan base, as a team, why should we bow down because our schedule was what it was? You knew the schedule.
Right.
You knew the schedule prior to the season. You knew the schedule when the season started, and you still said we're only going to win 4 games. We won 9. Chew on it and eat it. It is what it is. I say all that to say Jalen Hurts impressed me in terms of his entire his entire palette of games when you think about the entire season from beginning to end. Now, he had ups and downs throughout the season, like any young quarterback would have. But overall, from week one up until the playoffs, he has shown tremendous growth. His best
Hmm.
games to me were the Denver Broncos game. Well, what's Denver Broncos game? You think about games like the New Orleans game. You think about the last Washington football game where he won that game more so with his arm. Didn't throw a touchdown, but he had to make a lot of big passes in that game. You think about the Chargers game, even though we lost, but he played well enough to win that game. Defense fell short. You think about the Chiefs game. I personally feel that Jalen Hurts played good enough to win that game, but defense fell short again. But that's the Kansas City Chiefs. I felt like that was the moment to catch them when they were actually at their weakest. But we dropped the ball in that regard.
Yeah.
On top of that, the bottom line is he did exactly what he needed to do. He's a game. He was someone who did the most he could in the given circumstances. He managed to bring this team who wasn't really supposed to be anything to the playoffs with a very lackluster roster in totality from top to bottom. And on top of that, we were a team that was capable of putting up points. There were some games where we had a low scoring game, like the San Fran game. We only put up 11 points, and like the New York game, we only put up 7 points. But those were our two lowest scoring games. The New York Giants game in Week 12, when the score was 13-7, and the San Francisco game 17-11. But other than that, there were multiple occasions throughout the season where we put up 30 plus points as this roster was currently constructed. So I think it's important to understand the grand scheme of things and look at it like, okay, we came this far with a quarterback who had only 4 games of experience prior to the season starting. He ended up going 8-7 in the games that he played. In the 15 games he's played, Gardner Minshew started one because of the ankle injury, and he obviously didn't play the last game. But I think it's important that we understand that Jalen Hurts has given us a very solid foundation in terms of his game to build on. He's given us a solid foundation as far as success to build on. In his first year starting, he took a team to the playoffs. That's not easy to do, being a young quarterback with a rookie head coach. Now, I say all that to say he does have to improve. There are holes in his game. There will come a time where a team will take away the run, like the Buccaneers did. He's going to have to win strictly with his arm. You're going to go up against elite defenses. The deeper you go into the playoffs, the harder your schedule becomes as you win division titles. So he has to get sharper. There were moments in that Buccaneers game where he had players in single coverage, man to man, and he couldn't find it. For some reason, he couldn't find it. I put that on coaching. I also put that on him as well. I feel like the coaching staff didn't really put him in the best positions this past Sunday. I also feel like he didn't put himself in good positions this past Sunday. We just looked top to bottom out of sorts. But overall, pleased with Jalen Hurts' development. He has to get sharper with his accuracy, his ball placement, and his anticipation. Sometimes it's not the decision he made. It's more so his timing within that decision. He needs to get his timing right with his receivers. He needs to throw with more anticipation. For example, that interception with Devontae Smith in the end zone. He was wide open, but he threw it too late.
Yeah.
He should have threw it the moment he made his double move. When he made his double move, the corner fell. He had him wide open, but he delivered the ball way too late. At minimum, he would have had big yardage and he would have been in the red zone, but he waited too late, tried to get the home run, threw it, and it got picked off. So the bottom line is Jalen Hurts does have a lot to improve on, but he also has given his team a strong foundation to build on. And I believe that, you can actually grow with this kid. And on top of that, he's on a rookie deal. A lot of people don't really want to acknowledge that he's on a rookie deal. And by him being on a rookie deal, knowing the assets we have with the draft capital, with the cap space that's going to come, you can do a lot with this team. You can really reload this roster and really flip the script on guys. You just have to bet on his development. And let's just say he doesn't develop. Let's just say he stays the same exact quarterback. Let's say this 2022 season, he's the same quarterback. Then okay, low risk, and you can move on from him and go get your quarterback. Be it when the quarterback market is a little better, a little bit more flexible, or in a draft when the quarterback class is better. The bottom line is we don't have to skip steps in this process. We really don't, but a lot of people want to.
No, I feel you, man. Like, I always say it. I'm tired of people wanting a microwave QB, pop them in for 3 seconds, and bam, they come out elite. It doesn't work that way sometimes. Especially with these unpolished ones. It takes time. Now, let me throw a scenario at you. I threw it at Lindy last night, and he actually liked it. But
He's my guy.
Yes, for sure. Shout out to Lindy, one of the smartest men I know on here.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I love his Mavericks content. He goes he knows his Mavericks like the back of his hand, man.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But I said, after this whole ligament thing came out with Jalen Hurts and him actually being a lot worse than what he was made out to be, you know, you kind of have to sit there and wonder at that point how much weight, one, he could put on his left foot at all. You know what I'm saying? And I've torn my Achilles heel, so I know how hard that is and I know how that feels. It really sucks. And whenever you sit there and you think about it, ligaments are even worse than that, and when you can't put your weight on your feet, that messes with your throwing mechanics.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That is part of your throwing mechanics. And I believe he was missing high and he was missing deep a lot because he was using a lot more arm strength and he was using his arm a lot more to judge for the power that he got behind his passes because to compensate for his legs.
Right, yeah, he was
Okay. So that's why he was throwing high, and that's why he was also throwing way, way over. Because on that one pass where he threw 70 yards, like that one the Quez, he overshot him even still by like 5 yards deep. That was a bomb. So the kid's got the arm strength. He just doesn't have the consistency and he doesn't have the
he doesn't
accuracy.
have it. Like, not to cut you off, but don't you hate when people act like he doesn't have the arm strength? It's so often people say, "Oh, he has a noodle arm." No, he doesn't have a noodle arm at all. The
Yeah.
problem is timing and anticipation
Yeah.
and accuracy. It's not the strength at all.
Yeah. And a lot of people sit there and they were talking about, the one that he missed Quez across the middle there, where he should have hit him for the touchdown. At that point in the game, if I'm not mistaken, he's already thrown 2 interceptions. Every ball that he's thrown at that point has been high. And he knows it because he's trying to compensate. And when I say this, guys, it's like I said last night, I'm not making excuses for the kid. I'm just speaking truth, just total truth. When you compensate like that and you've been missing all day, that's mental at that point. When you know that something's wrong, when you know that you just can't make that throw because you're physically not able to do it, your body's not allowing you to. I'm okay that he held that because he wasn't comfortable enough to throw that. He didn't want to chance it. Like, why do I want to get picked off a third time? You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew if he was going to throw that, something bad was pretty much going to happen. And being mentally tough enough to hold that back, I understand it sucks for us, but he was not in the physical realm of playing this game. Let's be honest. He really wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. The ankle injury definitely was worse than what he let on, but that's just what he's going to do. Being a pro, being a professional, he's going to make it seem less than what it is. And
Yeah.
even leading up to that Jets game, right? He kept saying all week, "Yeah, I'm playing," but he knew he wasn't. Like, he knew he wasn't going to play, but obviously he has to send them. See, it's deeper than just talking to the media. Excuse me. He has to send a message to his team that I'm going to do everything that I can to be out there. And that's another thing about this guy that I love, the fact that this team truly believes in him. This team truly believes that when he's on the field, they have a chance at winning. And there are games this season where he's won through pure grit, like that Carolina game. That game was won through pure grit, pure determination. Wasn't a clean game at all by any stretch of the imagination. But he gutted it out and he managed to score, two big time touchdowns. I think running the ball in the end zone. But Jalen Hurts, he definitely has a lot of room to improve. And when you're a quarterback, most of your power comes from your legs, like we talked about. Most of that accuracy, most of your accuracy and your throw power comes from your legs. Your footwork is everything. Your foot placement is everything. And when you're unable to do that comfortably, then that's when you start to make mistakes and you start to overcompensate, like we've been saying. You know, and when you think about Jalen Hurts' trajectory and just the team's trajectory, the team is trending in the right direction. And a lot of people are so quick to jump out the window on this kid. And I understand that he had a rough game. I get that. But to pretend that he didn't go 8-7 under the present circumstances, when people slated us to go three, people thought we were going to go win 3 games, 4 games. The fact that he got the team to the playoffs, as presently constructed, his numbers aren't elite, but for a young guy that got his first hand at starting with a new quarterback, listen, everything he's had a different head coach, a different coordinator every single season of his collegiate and NFL career. How do you expect him to trust what he sees with the offense? How do you expect him to build that real rapport with his guys when every year the playbook is changing? You know what I mean?
I
So
do.
I try to give him a break in that respect, honestly, it's just that the bottom line is you have the kid on a rookie deal. We so many fans want to skip steps in this process, and that's not what I believe in. You
Yeah.
know, there's beauty in the struggle. Progress is a process. You have to trust your own process, and with our draft capital, with the cap space that's going to open up, we don't have to be hasty with anything. But even though Harry Roseman did commit to Jalen Hurts for the 2022 season, we have to keep in mind that Harry Roseman is a well-known wheeler and dealer,
Yeah.
and he has no problem making a move if the move makes sense and if the opportunity arises. So we also have to keep our eyes on Harry Roseman when it comes to the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, the Russell Wilson sweepstakes, the Derek Carr sweepstakes, or the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes. I think Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere. I know Aaron Rodgers likes to fake the funk and talk like, oh man, like, oh man, I don't trust his organization, but he's not leaving Green Bay, especially
Yeah.
if he wins this year. He's not leaving Green Bay. Let's just be totally honest about that. He's just not. Um,
Yeah.
but Hurts, when you think about his numbers compared to quarterbacks they've compared him to, such as Michael Vick, McNabb, and Josh Allen, guys like that. Let's think about Josh Allen's first year as a starter. First year getting starter level reps, playing that many games, right? Josh Allen went 10-6 his first year as the full-time starter. He completed 59% of his passes, 3,089 passing yards, 20 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 510 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. Very, very good game campaign for your first year starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you think about Donovan McNabb, went 11-5 in his first year as a legit starter, 58% completion percentage, 3,365 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 629 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. Then Michael Vick went 8-6-1 as his first year as a legit starter, 55% completion percentage, 2,936 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 777 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. Then you think about Jalen Hurts, 61% completion percentage, went 8-7 his first year as a full-time starter, 3,144 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 784 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. So his numbers sort of align with those guys. Now the record
Mm-hmm.
dictates your circumstances. Sometimes the roster is better, sometimes it's not. Donovan McNabb had a very good roster, very good defense. Josh Allen had a very good defense, good roster at the time. They brought him Stephon Diggs, you know what I mean, later on in his career.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, and Michael Vick, right, did his thing with the Falcons. Bottom line is Jalen Hurts in his first year as a legit starter had a better completion percentage than all those guys. And their attempts may differ based on the offensive scheme, the offensive identity. But the bottom line is they all threw over 400 pass attempts. And you got to give credit where credit is due. The kid did what he did as he's presently constructed. This is the floor for him. This
Yeah.
isn't a floor. He's going to get better. That's my mindset. He's going to get better. And once again, I'm all about the team first and foremost. I love the logo more than the name on the back of the jersey. I
Yep.
want to win. I
Yep.
want to win, and I want to. And if Jalen Hurts is the guy to get us there, I'm all for it. If it's Deshaun Watson, I'm for it. If it's Russell Wilson, I'm for it. But it has to make sense. It
Yep.
has to make sense. And the only reason I get nervous about guys like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson is because of the simple fact that in order to get those guys, what are you willing to give up? Knowing the holes we have on this team,
Yeah.
are you willing to leverage everything for those guys, thinking that they can bring you over the top? You think about the wide receiver core, lackluster outside of Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins did what he did with his opportunities, but overall lackluster outside of Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
You think about the running back room. Top two guys keep getting hurt. You think about the defense. Linebackers are middle of the pack. Guys who are overachieving, really. You think about the safeties, old guys. Think about the corners outside of Darius Slay and Devontae Maddox. You know what I mean? Who do you really trust? Steven Nelson was up and down all season, in my humble opinion. Devontae Maddox still growing in his position. We were one of the worst teams after pass rush. Couldn't get the quarterback to save our life all season. You know what I'm saying? Josh Sweat, in my opinion, underachieved this season.
Yeah.
Derek Barnett underachieves this season. He's going to be out the door. But the bottom line is this team has a lot of holes to fill, and you have an opportunity to really load this roster with a lot of talent with this draft capital you have. And you have a quarterback that has a legit shot as being really good. Now, people like to compare him to Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. They use this archetype quarterback, like guys like Josh Allen and guys like pretty much the top tier guys. Those guys are not easy to find. They're not easy to find at all. The quarterback position is not an exact science. These guys get lucky. You know how many teams passed on Deshaun Watson? You know how many teams passed on Patrick Mahomes? You know what I mean? It's not an exact. There are teams that drafted Josh Rosen over Josh Allen. I can't remember who got drafted first, Rosen or Allen, but people thought Josh Rosen was better than Josh Allen at one point. You know what I mean? So it's like this kid. Sure, he has flaws in his game, like a lot of young quarterbacks. But let's be let's be totally honest about this. If Jalen Hurts was the first round pick, people be eating out the palm of his hand. But because he's second round, but because he's a second round pick, his leash is shorter, and it's okay. I'll live with that. But let's just call it like it is. Before the season started, y'all said we was going to only win 4 games, no, we're not scheduled. The schedule didn't change mid-season, so call it like it is, and let's just keep it real, man. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, no, man. I asked the question before. If this was Jalen's rookie season, we'll just say hypothetically this was his rookie season, his first 16 games ever starting. Is this an acceptable rookie season?
Yes.
For a second round pick, I say it is.
I think it's above what a second round pick is supposed to give you.
Right. So when I look at that, what's that say? Like that. Yeah, granted, it's not his rookie year, but it's his first year starting, and he's starting in his second year. So for this being his first full season starting as a second year, well, that's pretty good for me.
And also last
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, most definitely. And also last year, let's be honest, that coaching staff wasn't trying to develop him. They weren't worried about him. They were trying to get things right with Carson. But then things went bad with Carson. They threw him in there. He did what he did, and he went 1-3 as a starter. He went toe to toe with Kyler Murray. That was, in my opinion, one of his best games. A top 5 Jalen Hurts game.
Yeah.
And he owns the Saints at this point in his career. He's 2-0 against the Saints. That's it. He owns them right now. For some reason they can't get a beat on him. He continues to embarrass the Saints. But and every time he faced them, they were the number 1 rushing defense.
Yeah.
They were the number 1 defense, number 1 rush defense, and he did what he did. So, the bottom line is Jalen Hurts. Yes, he has holes in his game. We understand that, but he's a very young quarterback that's very raw and has a rookie head coach. You know what I mean? So you're right, backyard.
It could be Daniel Jones.
He could be Daniel Jones. And let's be honest, he had games where he threw multiple interceptions like that Giants game. But overall, he only threw 9 interceptions in the season. He protects the ball. He makes fairly good decisions. And he actually protects his body fairly well, in my opinion. He knows how to slide. He knows he he knows how to pace himself when he's running, so he avoids contact. I think Jalen Hurts has a great foundation, you know.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact Howard Roseman will kick the tires on the Russell Wilson situation. He will kick the tires on the Deshaun Watson situation.
I even have given that kid credit before. I've seen him go to hand the ball off and he keeps it and he realizes right there and then I messed up and he'll just drop. Like not even try and run, he just falls, just sits down. That to me, that's smart. That's being fundamentally sound. Realizing, hey, I can live to see another down. You know what I'm saying? Um, but no, I agree with everything you say, dude. Jalen has done enough for me at least to move on one more year and see what we can get out of him. You
Exactly.
know, um, but that brings me to you know my next one is JG's been getting a lot of love, I guess we'll say, for a head coaching job. And some people out there they want it. Some people are like, well, it might suck to lose them. I've heard some people say that. So, how do you feel about it? What did you see in the defensive side of the ball for you during the playoff game and throughout the year? And how do you feel about JG and stuff like that?
I feel like JG bamboozled us. He he promised a lot in preseason and before that even started. He promised a lot that this defense is going to be aggressive and the hits theory. You know what I mean? And just he promised a lot. He promised aggression. He promised a defense that will attack and not be and a defense that wouldn't be docile. But that's what we dealt with all season. A defense, a defense that literally was waiting for things to happen instead of making things happen. He coached this defense, and here's the thing too, you know, Seth Joyner says something, and I want to give him credit for this because Seth Joyner, he speaks, he speaks a lot of truth when it comes to the Eagles, and particularly the defense. He says
Mhm.
something very, very, very very poignant to me. He says, "Your players take on the identity of their coach. If your coach is passive, your players will be passive." So JG has been passive all year, all year.
Yeah.
He's allowed quarterbacks to have career games against us, and the DBs have played 5, 6 yards off of the line of scrimmage. And I'm not saying other teams don't do that, but it's timely with other teams. It's
Yeah.
situational. He has these guys playing 4 to 5, 6 yards off the line of scrimmage, snap after snap after snap, because he's so afraid of getting beat over the top. But my thing is, it's football. You just might get beat over the top every now and again. But the bottom line is, you have to dictate the pace on defense instead of being reactive. Instead of waiting for things to happen. Instead of playing. Instead of calling plays from a play behind, you should be calling plays aggressively from a play ahead. He's always
Yeah.
calling plays from a step behind. Always
Yep.
he plays a very reactive defense. He needs to be more active. He needs to have his guys attacking the ball. He needs to blitz more. Be more creative. There's so many times where like our pre-snap motion on defense is trash. Trash. No confusion, no trickery.
Yep.
Wherever a guy is on defense in the pre-snap, that's where he's going to be post-snap. And
Yeah.
teams just pick us apart time and time again. And Tom Brady just picked us apart 2 games in a row. You know what I'm saying? You can make an argument that the first matchup was more competitive than this one. And it's I'll be honest, I'm really surprised that he's getting a lot of gaining a lot of steam with these other organizations as a for a head coaching position. You know what I'm saying? I, I don't know who he knows. I don't know where his relationships are. That I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But I'll be honest with you, I can do without JG next season. I need a defensive coordinator that's going to be willing to dictate the pace. I need a defensive coordinator that has pedigree in this league. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't be mad if we went after Vic Fangio, or I wouldn't be mad if we went after Zimmer that used to coach the Vikings. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad at that. The bottom, like we need a defensive coordinator that's gonna take on the identity of the DC, and the DC needs to have an aggressive mentality and aggressive identity. identity that's going to, that's going to entice defensive players to want to play here. You know what I mean? Guys want to
I
go after. Guys want to go after the quarterback. Guys want to go after the ball. Guys don't just want to sit back and just get dink and dunked on all day.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, man, I'm glad Coach is here. And Milton asked the question: if JG leaves, who do you want as DC? Listen, Houston's getting a new head coach. All right. Hopefully, that new head coach comes in, gets rid of Lovey Smith. Because if that's the case, I am bringing Lovey Smith to Philly. Because I'm telling you what, dude, Lovey Smith would bring a whole new dimension to this defense. You're talking like old school Bears type, hard hitting defenses. That is what he does, and I love it. I would love to have Lovey Smith as our defensive coordinator here in Philly.
Agreed.
That's mine.
Lovie Smith has pedigree. He's been in this league for
Yeah.
a long time.
Plus, he brings that veteran leadership. He can help Nick grow as a head coach.
Yeah, and I felt like that was something that was a little lacking in the coaching room. I know Jeff Stoutland, he was there, but Jeff Stoutland strikes me as the type of guy that doesn't make waves. He's focused on his craft, and that's the O line and the run game. But we needed. I feel like Nick Sirianni would have benefited from having at least a veteran DC, somebody that can give him that elder statesman perspective.
Yeah, like McVay had Phillips, you know?
People forget that. People underestimate the value of having an OG in the room. Sometimes when there's too many young people in the room, you make decisions based off emotion. Sometimes you're a little irrational. Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself. Sometimes you need that OG to say, "Hey, young buck, listen, we're gonna be all right. Just take it one step at a time and reel it in." You need somebody that's gonna reel you in, somebody that's been there, had the experiences, and that can at least give you some sort of insight, maybe on, and a guy that's seen different offenses and defenses that can give you, he just having someone with experience just gives you insight. And I feel like I understand what Nick Sirianni was trying to do. He was trying to put his homies on, and I ain't mad about that. I'm
Yeah.
not mad about that.
But it did not work.
You're trying to start a new wave. You're trying to establish something. And I like Shane Steichen. I like what he's done with Jalen Hurts. I got a feeling this offense could be very potent, but we need Jalen Hurts to continue to develop. You know what I mean? We need him to be able to make those throws. He's shown us that he can make certain throws like that. One of his best throws of his career, in my opinion, was that back shoulder throw to Greg Ward in the end zone.
Yeah,
in the red.
that was nice.
Beautiful game. Both of his, I think, two of his best throws of his career went to Greg Ward. But I digress. The defense definitely needs some veteran leadership in terms of the coaching staff, and I think Nick Sirianni. I think even if JG doesn't even get hired, I think JG won't be here next year because I think Nick Sirianni realized that we win at least two more games if the defense is remotely aggressive.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I really actually respect what he did, but it did not work. Therefore, you have to fix it. And I even asked the question, I believe it was back in like 5 or 6. If this continues to go, will Jonathan Gannon have the kahunas to fire his friend? You know,
You mean,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Will Nick have the kahunas to fire his friend? Will he be able to step in between him and JG's friendship and be like, bro, I'm here to win. You kind of drug me down this year. I apologize, but I need to fix it.
Right.
So that's something we need to look at. If he does not get a coaching job, does he have it in him to fire his friend?
That's a really good question, my man. Really good question because even in press conferences, he defended JG a lot. He tried to give JG autonomy on defense, but and I feel like Nick Sirianni is going to learn this lesson as well. As the head coach, you're not just responsible for offense, even if you have a DC. You need to have your hands on everything. You need to stick your head in those defensive meetings and say, "Hey, what we talking about?" You know what I mean? Like you need to have your hands on everything. Because at the end of the day, when things go well, yeah, they're gonna give you credit. You credit your team. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
when things go wrong, no one's looking at your team; they're looking at you. So I think that's one thing he's learned tremendously from this season, that he needs to take charge. And like, again, he's a young guy. As you grow more, and this is with any role, when you're someone who's used to being a worker and then you become a boss, now
Yeah.
you have to be able to make certain decisions, and you have to grow into the role. No one grows from being a follower to a leader overnight, or a worker to a boss overnight. You have to learn how to be a leader. You have to learn how to be a boss. And with being a boss, you have to know how to make tough decisions, regardless of friendships or emotion. And I feel like this is going to be this off season is going to tell a lot about not just the front office, but um, this coaching staff and Nick Sirianni. Just as far as where he is from the head coach perspective, and how seriously he wants, and how serious he takes his job, and does he really want to get better? We're really going to see, like, that. Are you putting your relationships in front of the ultimate goal, and that's a Lombardi Trophy?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've been sitting here trying to think of his name. Maybe you can help me. It just slipped my mind for some reason. Our wide receiver coach,
Oh, Aaron Moorhead, he has to go as
Moorhead.
well.
Thank you. He
He has to
needs to
go as well.
go. He needs to go. I said it at the beginning of the year. If you do not see an improvement with these wide receivers, he needs to go. And listen, we can already see that Devontae Smith is leaps and bounds ahead of both Watkins
He
and
got
Ray.
lucky with Devontae, because Devontae came in the league ready made.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was
Well, that's what
he
I'm
was
saying. That's exactly my point. These guys are in their second year, and he's already leaps and beyond them as a rookie. That's
right,
my point. So when you have that big of a gap, that is a weak part, and that goes back to coaching. Like,
right,
you're not developing these players to be at their best, and
right.
that's on him. Now, I'm not saying we keep Rager. I definitely want him gone as
No,
well,
he has to
but
go.
I'm
Yes.
talking for the future. Like, we need a new coach for the future to develop whoever the hell we get in here up more. You know what I'm
Let,
saying?
let me ask you this. You know, we give Moorhead a lot of hell, for his lack of progress when it comes to development with his wide receiver room, right? You know, um, I think about guys like Quez Watkins, who put in a lot of work in the offseason. He put a
Yeah.
lot of work in the offseason. And Quez Watkins, for his role on the team, I feel like Quez Watkins did pretty well, all things considered. Um, Quez Watkins' stats are actually
Pretty
pretty
good.
good, pretty
Yeah.
good for not being a number. He didn't start the season as a number two. He started as
Mhm.
number three, and then he grew into the number three, grew into the number three role. I'm sorry, grew into the number two role. But Quez Watkins' stats, uh, 43 receptions on 62 targets, 647 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, he did have a big drop in that Denver game. That would have been a top five Jalen Hurts throw as well. As far as the deep ball, he put it right where he needed to be, but Quez Watkins dropped it. But nonetheless, Quez Watkins, right? Here, you want to hear something sad? Quez Watkins had 62 targets. Jalen Rager had 57 targets. Only a five target difference, not a massive disparity, right?
Yep.
Quez Watkins with his 62 targets. And also, here's another thing as well. Quez Watkins had 43 catches. Jalen Rager had 33 catches. Again, not a large disparity. Only a five target disparity between the targets, and only a 10 catch disparity. Not
Yep.
that drastic, right? Quez Watkins had 647 yards on his opportunities. Jalen Rager only had 299 yards. That is unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable. Quez Watkins, I feel like Quez Watkins got where he is today off his own offseason merits. And this is
And
this
him
is
and
where I,
Calvin
and
Ridley.
this is where I circle back to Aaron Moorhead. Aaron Moorhead, you're not responsible for Quez Watkins' development. You're not. I was keeping track
Yeah.
of Quez Watkins all summer. Quez Watkins was putting in work all summer, and I didn't really, and I don't know what Jalen Rager was doing, but I didn't really see it. I know social media is not reality. I know it's highlights, but
Yeah.
Quez Watkins was he made it a point to show that he was working all summer. And you saw it in the preseason where Quez Watkins, how he grew. You saw it in the Steelers game, even though we lost. But Quez Watkins came in, first catch, boom, took it to the house. I'm like, yo, Quez, okay. He
Yeah.
looks faster. He looks more, he looks stronger. Quez Watkins caught a lot of big passes this year. A lot of big
Yeah.
passes. Like I said, for his targets, having 62 targets and 43 catches, he only 19 of only 19 of those targets didn't make it to him. That's pretty
You
good. He had a
ready for another stat?
yeah. I'm listening, my man.
All right. Jalen Rager is one of three quarterbacks, or one of three wide receivers in NFL history to have played 16 games in his first two seasons and have less than 500 yards. Do you know who the other two are?
Nelson Aguilar. I'm taking a wild guess. Nelson Aguilar and I can't even think about the other person.
Darius Hayward Bay.
Wow. And Darius Hayward Bay made his money in the special teams. At least
That is how bad this kid is, my guy.
right.
He is with Nelson Aguilar, who was drafted by us and on our team just recently, and Darius Hayward Bay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get rid of this guy.
You got
like no, no.
I'll be honest. I know he's the first round pick, but you can't justify him being here.
No.
I'll be honest. I actually like how Roseman addressed it. He said he knows how disappointed we were in his production. He knows it, and we spoke to him about it. And I'm telling you, I think I'll be surprised if Rager is on his roster next year. He has no draft equity. I mean, I'm sorry, he has no trade equity. He has none. He has none. Like honestly, you're better off cutting bait from this kid. You're better off just cutting bait and moving on. Greg Ward was a better target for Jalen Hurts than Jalen Rager. Like it's really sad, and I gotta put a lot of it on Aaron Moorhead. You had this kid for 2 years. We had him for 2 years, and he's actually regressed.
Yeah.
And he's a legit detriment to this team. He literally hurts this team. That Buccaneers game, he hurt us.
Yep.
From field position, from a field position perspective, and from a turnover perspective. He legitimately hurt this team in the playoffs. He's hurt us throughout the year. And the only reason he even had snaps because he was a first round pick. Let's be totally honest. And I love the fact that Nick Sirianni called him a number 3. I like that he made that very clear. He said Quez has become our number 2. Rager, he's a number 3. He shouldn't even be a number 3. He should be a number 4. Greg Ward should be the number 3. But the bottom line is we need to improve this wide receiver core. Outside of Devontae Smith and maybe Quez Watkins, the wide receiver core needs to improve. Ultimately, we need to go get a guy in free agency.
I 100% agree with you, and we're about to get there. But real fast, and I asked Lindy this question as well last night. Aaron Moorhead, he takes pride in his job. He thinks he's good. Who's our passing game coordinator?
Patullo.
What is wrong with these guys? If Jalen Hurts' strongest side is his right side, then why did we not have Devontae Smith playing on his right the entire time?
I get that.
And Rock made the comment last night. Well, it's too predictable. Yeah, but Devontae's a beast. He can figure a way to get open. You know what I'm saying? One way or another.
I think to respond to your question, I think it's one of those things like Devontae is so dynamic. You want to be able to move him around and do different things with him, right? I feel like Devontae can eat no matter where he is. Yeah. But what should happen is Devontae, and also you got Dallas Goedert, right?
Yeah.
So Devontae, whatever routes he runs, he should always find his way to Jalen Hurts' strong side. But I think that I actually think any young quarterback really that, it all depends on your dominant hand, right? When you're right-handed running to your right, it's easy for you to get that ball off.
Yep.
But when you running left and you're right-handed, you're throwing across your body, so it's harder. You got to be more accurate. You got to be more talented, really. You got to be more skilled, more refined as a passer. So most quarterbacks who are right-handed don't want to go to their left, really. But Jalen Hurts, it just hurts him more than the average quarterback.
Yeah. No, it does, and hopefully that's the stuff we see him clean up this offseason.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, real
we
quick,
talk.
Bobby Murphy brought up something, bro. I'm sorry. Eagles fans, I'm
Which one? Up one?
Bob, no, Bobby, no, you're good right there. It's already on the
Okay.
screen. He says your fourth or fifth. He said, but your fourth or fifth receiver has to be able to play special teams. Rager can't do that well either. I'm glad you said that.
Right.
I'm glad he said it because that brings me to this point. I want to give credit to Nick Sirianni in this regard. He didn't draft this kid, right, Jalen Rager, but
Yeah.
he said, you know what? Let me give him a chance. Let me put him in various situations. Nick Sirianni had him on special teams. Nick Sirianni had him on go routes. Nick Sirianni had him on bubble screens. Nick
Yep.
Sirianni had him on wide receiver smoke screens. He used them in jet sweeps. He tried to use him in so many creative ways, and the kid still can't get it done.
Yep.
So it's like, and from Nick Sirianni, I'm like, I'm at my wits end because there were games where they tried to get him going.
Yep.
Like in that Giants game, they say, you know what, it's the Giants. It's the perfect game to get Jalen Rager some confidence. Perfect game. So he couldn't even get it done against the Giants. He couldn't even get it. He had two opportunities to be the hero. If he catches those, I'll be honest, if he catches those touchdowns, everything that happened prior is all forgiven. Let's be
Yep.
honest. Let's be
Yep.
totally real. He had a chance to save his career. He had a chance to save his standing in the city. And he couldn't get it done. I give credit all credit to Nick Sirianni for being patient with this kid. It's time to
Yeah.
move on. If I'm Nick Sirianni and I'm talking to Howie, I said, "Listen, Howie, I know you drafted this kid, and I know I know you want this kid to be successful. You saw what he did this first year in the league, and then when I got my hands on him, and I specialize in wide receivers, I couldn't even do nothing with the kid. He can't get it done. Howie, we got to move on from him. We have
Yeah.
to. He got to plead his case to Howie. Said, listen, I don't care what we get for him. A fifth, sixth round pick. Listen, we found Quez Watkins in the sixth round. We can get, I don't care what it is, get him out the building.
I feel you, bro. Like, no lie. I did it on my live play-by-play. I flipped out whenever he went and he tried to get that punt. It's like, dude, all year long, you have let every punt bounce. And half of them have landed inside the 5-yard line, and they got downed, and we started with shitty field position because you let them bounce at the 10.
He can't.
Okay?
He can't place the ball.
Yeah. So that's the punt you decide that day, on that moment, in that time, in that game. That's the punt you decided to grab with a defender right in your face. That's the one. That was what did it for me. When I saw him do that, I was like, "You've got to be shitting me."
Right. And give
really?
credit to the gunner. The gunner, he
Yeah.
was on it. His timing was impeccable.
Yep.
Give credit to him as well. He did his job tremendously. But Jalen Rager definitely made it easy for him.
So Milton asked the other one I was going to ask you about, J Jaw. I've been done with J Jaw last year. Well, you there too?
Remember we was on that live stream. I think was JC on it as well. I can't remember.
Yes,
bro. We were all going. Me and you were like, JC, he doesn't have it. And look, me and JC made a bet on Bird Gang's channel before the season started.
For the one touchdown, right?
For the one touchdown. Said, look, if he scores one touchdown this year, just one,
yeah,
I'll buy you a J Jaw jersey.
Yep.
But if he doesn't, you owe me lunch. So
you owe him lunch, or he owes you lunch. Yeah.
So he sent me the money for my lunch already. So we're good on the bet, right? But here's the funny part about it. I was at the final Eagles game, week 17 or week 18 against the Cowboys, and obviously you saw that game. You saw Gardner Minshew deliver that pass to him. Yep. He was wide open.
Yeah.
And he just let it go right through his hands. I'm sitting, and at the time, I'm like, catch it, because I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But after the drop, I'm like, fuck. And then at the same time, I'm like, hold on, wait. Oh, no, okay. I'm like, all right. Then the game was over, and I took to JC like in a live stream later on, and JC was just like, bro, yeah. I gotta eat this, man. Like, it's over for J Jaw. It's over.
Yeah. Nah, dude. Listen, man. You know, we've said it, and I've heard it a couple of times tonight with you and me both. listen, you're only going to be as good as you want to be. And these kids show you and tell you by the way they talk, the way they act, the way they feel. You know, I don't see Jay Jaw and Jalen Rager talking the way that Devontae Smith talks, the way that Jalen Hurts talks. You don't see that characteristic in them. They don't want to be that guy. There's a reason Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams, that D Hop is D Hop, that Tom Brady's Tom Brady. That's their mentality. They wanted to be there. They wanted to be the greatest. The only way you get to be the greatest is because you want to be that. You're not going to get there just off pure talent. You have to have the will and the desire to want to do that. And that's something we saw in J Jaw a long time ago. Like, there's just no desire.
There's
like,
no heart there.
No, there isn't. Like,
why is your mom at training camp holding the fucking over your head? Like, bro, like, come on. Like, we're like Devontae Smith, man. That's a man. That's a grown man right there.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, man. On multiple occasions, you saw him snapping because of something Jalen Rager did or didn't do. You saw him in that Giants game. He you went to him twice. You went to him. He skipped the post game press conference because he was too pissed off that game. He was too pissed off. He skipped it. Now I do respect Jalen Rager for owning it and coming to the press conference and not running away. But other than that, my man, that's the only respect you've earned in the city. But like I said, like Devontae Smith, that's a grown man right there. He wants to be great.
Yeah.
You saw him on the sideline in that Tampa Bay game. He was snapping at Jalen Rager. He was like, bro, like what? He was like, I don't know what he was talking about, but obviously Rager did some dumb shit. He was like, bro, like, and Rager just all he could do was just walk off. He couldn't even say nothing. He just looked dumb. And Quez Watkins sitting next to Smith like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, man. I'll tell you, dude. It is bad. I listen. We just got out coached. We got outmanned. We got outplayed. It was just all around bad, But yeah, no lie. That's an inside joke that's up there right now. I said, God, I hope to God J Jaw has no kids, bro, because that's his kids when they get born. He's sitting there holding them. He's just going to drop them. It's going right through his hands. Like, this dude cannot hold anything. Like, he's just, I don't understand. He's had the time. He's had the time to develop, and people are like, why isn't he playing? Well, it's quite obvious why he's not playing. He hasn't shown any reason to play. The only thing he showed is that, hey, he can block. That's it.
Bro, at least J-Jaw can block. Rager can't even do that, man. Like I said, man, Nick Sirianni's giving him a lot of opportunities to be great, and the kid just can't get it done, bro. It's like god awful.
Yeah, it really is. So, we are coming up on an hour here, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on here with me and doing this.
Yeah, my man, for sure. Like I had fun, man. Definitely reach out anytime, and we'll try to set something else up in the future. As long long as the schedule dictates, we can always set something up, my man. I really appreciate you. And then I got to get you on my channel as well. I want to eventually. I'm gonna set up a pretty I'm gonna set up a round table, a bunch of Eagles content creators. I'm trying to get maybe like 4 or 5 or 6 of us, so we can, shoot the shit and just, tap in. And, I even want to do something big for the draft. I'm thinking about, when the draft comes on, like a pretty big, like watch party, a bunch of content creators, whoever's free, whoever's down, and we can, just knock that out, man. So yeah, bro, you reach out anytime, and, I'll do my best to make it happen for sure, man. I really enjoy myself.
Thank you. And before you get out of here, I want to ask you, what for your first 3 picks this year? What do you want to go with? Your own personal opinion and stuff like that.
So, I'm real big on. I know Howie loves to play the whole value card, like, oh, like, well, what's the best value for this pick at this spot? Like, it's like, look, man, is he good? Can he play or can he play? You know what I'm saying? Or what do we need? See, I can live with the pick if it's based on what we need. You know what I mean? Like, even if the kid don't pan out, I can live with it because, okay, for example, let's say we draft a linebacker, right? Let's say he doesn't pan out, I can live with it because we needed a linebacker. Him not panning out was on him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, to answer your question directly, I got a feeling we're going to trade one of those picks away to have another first round pick in the next year's draft, or we're going to package two of them to move up to get a top tier defensive talent. But in the first round, I think Howard Roseman knows we have to go defense. We have to. Um, so if I'm being honest with you though, I'm definitely going linebacker or edge in the first round. Linebacker or edge rusher. Or that center from Iowa. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes sometimes when there's an offensive line talent there, you can't. I'm all for loading up the trenches as well. We don't know what Jason Kelsey is going to do, so I'm all about fortifying the trenches. So there's three positions I'll be perfectly fine with drafting: linebacker, edge, or offensive lineman. I can live with either one of those picks.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I did a mock draft last Thursday, I think, and the one that I said out loud before we even did it is if Linderbaum is there at 15, I'm taking Linderbaum. Like that is somebody you can't pass up on. He's going to be a great talent. He will be really good at center, and that also lets us leave Dickerson at left guard next to Mailata. I like that matchup. I don't want to mess with that if we don't have to. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I'm a very big Jordan Davis supporter. I really, really like Jordan Davis. I believe Jordan Davis and Hargraves in the middle will wreak havoc for the next 6 years.
Is that D tackle from
Six
Georgia?
six 350. Yeah, he's a monster. He runs like a 4.4. He's ridiculous fast.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's strong. It's like having a Mailata on the defensive line. And you saw, yeah, and you saw what Vita Vey did to Kels this past weekend. It pays to have a
Yeah.
very big dude in the middle. You know what I'm saying? It really does. And not
With
just that, but I've
James.
watched this dude get triple teamed and still stop guys behind the line of scrimmage. You can't triple team him in the NFL. What are you gonna do? Let everyone else come free? You know what I'm saying? So I get it. He might not produce as many sacks as you want, but
Right.
just him alone being the disruption that he is makes him all that more valuable. You know what I mean?
For sure, my man. Like I definitely like that, and it was like you said about Jason Kelsey. That was the first time I ever seen him look like a boy. Like
Right?
he man, it got to a point where he started getting penalties because he was trying to get the jump on him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like damn, man, that's the kind of game that make you be like, you know what, maybe I gotta retire.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, Jason Kelsey's been flawless all season, flawless. But he came up against a young D tackle who's just got his big payday. Hey, Joey Shakes, the
What's up,
legend.
Joey?
You
God
know,
bless.
he came up against a D tackle that just got his money and he's worth it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Eagles attack this all season, especially free agency. I'm really curious to see, but what we do in free agency. I would love to get Allen Robinson. Um, I wouldn't even mind if we went after Chandler Jones if he still has some juice left in the tank. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be
Is
really interesting.
Hassan Riddick a free agent or is he still with Carolina? Hassan Riddick?
Let me actually. I can double check that real quick.
Because I'm not sure if they signed him to a 1 year contract or if they actually signed him to more than that. Because if
Right.
not, Hassan Riddick would not be a bad option for the free agent pool.
Right. So okay. So here are the free agents that I'm seeing right now. I don't see Hassan Riddick. I would imagine he would be at the top. But okay, here's some guys. Von Miller is going to be a free agent. Brandon Scherf, the offensive guard. Allen Robinson at wide receiver. Chandler Jones at linebacker. Chris Godwin at wide receiver. Nate Solder at left tackle. Dante Fowler Jr. at edge. Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Tyrann Matthew at safety. Cam Robinson at left tackle. Teron Armstead at left tackle, Stephon Gilmore, Calais Campbell, Jason Pierre-Paul, Akeem Hicks. There's a lot of edge guys going to be available in free agency. Some veterans. Now, all these guys I mentioned is pretty much in their 30s, but you know they have a lot of experience, and who knows what they have left in the tank. But there's a guy like Brandon Williams from Baltimore. He's 32. Um, again, there's just a lot of guys available for agency this year. Um,
Yeah.
again, I'm going to be really curious to see how they approach this. I personally don't think Von Miller is going to be back with the Rams next year because I think they made that move to go all in just to see how things pan out. I think they'll resign OBJ before they resign Von Miller. But regardless though, it's going to be really interesting, man, to see what happens. And Joey brought up a good point. Brandon Brooks with the whole retirement thing. Like that's the hottest rumor out right now. If he retires, man, it's going to free up a lot of cap space. Who knows what they'll do with the Fletcher Cox situation? So many things, so many narratives, so many storylines in this off season for this Philadelphia Eagles team, man. I'm just, I'm going to be glued. I'm going to be glued, my man.
Yeah, I believe between Brooks and Kels, that's like 25 million you would save because Kels is like a $10 million cap hit, if I'm not mistaken. And if he retires, you save 10 million too on top of his 20. So you're looking at $30 million extra on top of what we already have. You can't go wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that almost puts you at like 85, 90 mil for the whole free agency, and you can do a lot with 90 mil.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot of money. Listen, we're gonna have a lot of money to spend, and at the end of the day, I think Howard Roseman, he was very intentional with paying certain people and during the season because he's trying to send a message.
What's
He's
up,
trying to send
Moochie?
a he's trying to send a message that, hey, listen, we pay our guys over here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? A lot of Howard Roseman's decisions this season were definitely to look good in the off season. To look like to look like a desirable place. You know what I'm saying, to come to. So yeah, man. Uh, he's paying guys. A lot of free agents are going to see that. You got an up and coming roster, a team with a lot of money, a lot of draft picks. Some players like to get on the train at the right time, and I think the Eagles are one of the more desirable places for free agents going into the offseason just because they got a lot of money, the draft capital, um, the youth involved. You know what I mean?
right.
They and for a team that was very young, very raw, had the number one rushing attack. A lot of players are going to, believe it or not. I think this may be the best year for the Eagles in terms of free agency. I think the Eagles are going to make a splash.
I agree, man. You said it best. This is a very young team. They're very talented. Sorry, got a tickle.
Mm.
Um, but they're very talented. They made it to the playoffs with what little bit that we had. So they showed these veterans like, hey, we can compete. So you're gonna have some people that want to come here. You're not lying.
Exactly.
I expect we have a lot, but hey, man, I appreciate you. We still got six in here, but I appreciate you coming on and spending your time here with me and talking some Eagles football, man.
For sure, my man. I'm grateful. I really appreciate it. Again, invite me back anytime. We'll be in contact. We'll make something else happen as well. The feeling is always mutual. There's always love. And once again, shout out to our brother, Philly Foothills from the Next West podcast. Real humble guy, real genuine guy, and his family is going through a real tough time. So make sure you guys donate to the GoFundMe if you can. I'm going to repost that as well on Twitter. Anything little help, any little thing helps, $1, $2, it all helps because, this is unexpected for his family. And, it's a pandemic right now. And, it's really hard on people right now, so it's going to be really important for, us to just hold down our community, hold down our AIDS community and, just spread love unconditionally.
Yeah, man, and like I said, this is my boy Tone Deshields, from Chalk It Up Sports. He does a podcast in the morning, right before the games with my boy Philly Foothills. So definitely go check them out whenever we play next year. Uh,
Mhm.
that's weird to say already, isn't it?
Right,
Um,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Don't worry, listen, we're in 2022 already,
right.
and listen, all we got until late August, until September. Things are going. It's going to be able, before you know it, man. This off season is
Yeah.
going to be very entertaining. Don't get it
Yep.
twisted, man. This offseason, and me and Philly Phillips is going to get some more podcasts going for offseason too. This is going to be interesting, you guys. So keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, but definitely go sub to my guy over here if you haven't already. Most of everyone in here should be, so I'm not too worried about it. So I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Thank you for coming out to another Eagles Uncensored podcast. Until next time, this is AK Eagles and my guy Tone Deshields. See y'all later. Fly Eagles fly. God bless. Peace. Love you guys. We're out.